Welcome to It's Only Electric. This is the NIO EL7 and I have a man flu, so I may not be able to survive this. Let's take a drive. So the EL7 is the smaller sibling to the ES8, and the EL7 is actually named ES7 outside of Europe after losing a trial against Audi and their S models, S7, S6, etc. The EL7 measures 4.9 meters in length and has a wheelbase of almost 3 meters. It weighs 2.4 tons with this battery pack. So the EL7 is competing in the premium segment of full-sized SUVs. So the biggest competitors is BMW iX, Audi E-tron Q8, Xpeng G9 and Mercedes EQE SUV. That's the 4 biggest competitors in the same class and same league as the NIO EL7. All NIO models are easy to recognize, and that's mostly due to 2 factors. The first factor is the frontal design of the NIO cars, and that's the fact that they have chosen to separate the light units in the front. So the daylight running lights are the light strip on the top, separated from the actual headlight unit that's a little bit further down, closer to the ground. That's the black area you see in front of the car. The second thing is the 3 horns on top of the front windshield. That seems to be an opinion divider. They are there for a reason, but a lot of people don't seem to like that design. For me, as long as it has a reason, I think it looks a bit cool because I like technology. But the front forwarding big bump on the top is actually the LiDAR, and the 2 horns at the sides are high precision or high resolution cameras, and that's hardware for supporting the self-driving capability. So Aquila is NIO's own hardware for the self-driving capability. That comes as a standard on all NIO cars. It's over 30 different sensors altogether. So 7 high definition cameras, 4 low definition cameras, 1 front facing LiDAR, 4 high precision millimeter radars, 12 USS sensors, a surveillance infrared camera in the cabin. So all the hardware is here to bring you a self-driving capability like the NIO Pilot, self-parking functions, 360 views when parking, etc. So a lot of functions are based on these cameras and sensors all around. The EL7 is packed with power, 653 horsepower, driving on all 4 wheels, so 2 motors, 1 at the front, 1 at the back, 850 Newton meters of torque, has a top speed of 200 kilometers per hour and does 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.9 seconds. So this is a power pack with a lot of power, a lot of punch. So when you floor it, you really feel it. It's quick. I'm actually testing range acceleration and noise in my next video, so don't miss that one. So this specific car is equipped with a 100 kilowatt hours battery pack, gross capacity, and 95 kilowatt hours of net capacity. It's an NMC battery. There is a smaller battery pack available of 75 kilowatt hours of gross capacity and 70 kilowatt hours of net capacity. There is a bigger battery pack on the way, a 150 kilowatt hours of gross capacity, a semi-solid state battery pack. Not available here in Sweden yet, but I heard it's in China. It's on the way to Europe, but it will probably be very expensive. So the range on this car is up to 509 kilometers with the 100 kilowatt hours battery pack. But since this car has the bigger wheels, 21 inch instead of the standard 19 inch wheels, you lose some range. So if you want to have a better looking car, you will suffer in range. So from 509 kilometers of WLTP range down to 479 kilometers. Let's talk a little bit about charging, or maybe it's called swapping. NIO is one of the first companies in the world to provide battery swapping. I said one of the first. So that means that you don't need to charge your battery pack on long trips. You can actually swap it. So you can drive into a NIO power swap station and swap your empty battery for a 90% fully charged battery pack in under 5 minutes. And I have tried that, and I'm going to release a video where I prove the swapping time and time it, just so you see how that works. So Swapping batteries is a really powerful way of getting energy into your pack, into your car in a quick way. On top of that, you can of course still quick charge or supercharge your car, and the charging speeds when it comes to DC charging, quick charging, is 140 kilowatts. That's not class leading, but it keeps a pretty flat curve, so it's a decent charge time anyway. Home charging, AC charging, has a top speed of 11 kilowatts with support for 3-phase charging. It comes with a dual chamber air suspension, really nice suspension. It's not active though, but you can adjust ride height and stiffness depending on the drive modes and the settings in the car. And it really gives you a nice cushioned and soft feeling when driving. It really never gets uncomfortable. It's a pleasant ride inside this car. So to enhance the driving comfort and the noise inside the cabin, NIO has equipped the EL7 with acoustic glass double pane window, both the windshield at the front row and the rear row, but not at the boot. So almost a 360 of double pane acoustic glass windows makes the cabin noise really silent. And NIO in general seems to put a lot of effort into keeping the cabin noise low because it's really silent in here. So let's have a look at the materials on the interior. On top here, a multi-layered dashboard with Numi on top. That's the AI for voice controls and assistance. Can be a bit annoying sometimes. Microfiber, really nice touch. Head-up display as standard. Here in the middle, something called Karoon. There's a sustainable rattan material made of palm leaves. Same material goes in the doors and also here on the mid console. The bottom layers is stitched fake leather or leatherette, depending on what you want to call it, but feels good. It's soft touch almost everywhere and it looks good. It looks tidy, different shades of gray and black, makes the cabin feel sophisticated and luxury, but the amount of buttons make it feels modern and sleek at the same time. A floating midsection here with a great storage underneath. You have some fragrance ampoules down here that you can remove. 3 different fragrances in the cabin if you want and like that. Back to the mid console. This is the drive mode selector. So we push it in to the front, it's in reverse. Towards you is drive. On the side here you have the parking button. To the right of the drive mode selector you have 3 hardware buttons. One for selecting the drive mode. This is very convenient. One for the hazard lights and one for locking and unlocking the doors. So for me this is a great mix of hardware and software buttons. You have most of the things you need conveniently placed here. Let's talk about the steering wheel. It's a fairly big steering wheel, wide, flat on the bottom. Same material and feeling as the leatherette here on the sides and on the lower parts of the cabin. I really like the design of the steering wheel controls because there is travel in them. This side is for media, start, stop, change source, volume up and down, shuffle functionality. To the left you have the driving controls, for instance activating NIO Pilot. So they're really easy to use and easy to find when it's dark, for instance, because you feel it and you don't have any strange haptic feel buttons here. You feel the travel on everything you do. So that's neatly integrated into the steering wheel. You also have a driver or cabin surveillance for your own safety. It's an infrared camera placed underneath this black plastic here and a camera on top of the rear view mirror. When it comes to storage, you don't have any glove box, but you have a giant storing capability underneath this floating mid console. You also have a really deep pocket here underneath the armrest, and that's openable from both sides. That's really neat. Big pockets inside the front and the back doors actually. So you have decent storage inside the cabin. I'm missing the glove box though, because it's a nice way to stow away and hide things you don't want to have visible in the cabin. Let's talk about the seats. So the front seats comes with heating, cooling, relax functionality and massage. And the difference between relax and massage is that relax is a lot softer and works with air pressure, whilst massage really works mechanically and gives you a lot harder input. So I really prefer the massage function. It's really prominent, it gives you a really good feeling. So for instance, when you press seat here, the front seat, you can have something called cat tap. You have two different harshness levels, hard or soft. You really feel it. Feels like someone is tapping you in the back in a really good way. So I really like the massage functionality in this car. You have different massage functions. My favorite is cat tap or dynamic. And then there is the relax function, and the relax functionality is also available in the back seat. So the back seat comes equipped with the relax light massage function and heated seats. But back to the seat itself, not my favorite seats. You have a good thigh support. You can't adjust the lumbars, but the angle of the thigh support is too flat, so it doesn't give me a high enough support. I wanted to point upwards a bit more, and I really don't get any good sidewall support. So the bolsters on the seat part on the sides are a bit too low, and at the same time a bit too narrow, so it's not an optimal seat for me. But the neck rests, yeah, they really feel good. So I would have preferred a bit sportier seats, and what I mean with sportier seat is that I prefer when the seating position actually had more bolsters, side bolsters on the seating part and also on your backrest. Best thing is to have adjustable side bolsters, but that's not necessary. It's enough if you have good support. Two screens, one central media screen, AMOLED screen, 12.8 inch, and a central instrument cluster of 10.2 inch, I think it is. Two decently sized screens. I'm running them both on the dark theme now. I prefer dark modes on the screens, get some more settled feeling and doesn't get too bright with the white backgrounds. Nice functions, not that much of a possible like customization on the instrument cluster. You have some settings. When it comes to the operating system, it's based on Android Auto from the beginning. You have an app drawer with certain apps. It's very limited. You don't have Android Auto or Apple CarPlay for the moment. You have a weather app, some photo application for taking photos in the cabin, the park assist camera. So it's equipped with the parking assistant that can park for you, and it works really good. User manual, phone function, media, and that's the Bluetooth connection actually. Now Numi is really annoying. She's telling me to focus because the cameras inside the cabin is actually seeing that I'm looking at the screen, and Numi is sensing that I'm touching the screen too many times, and then she tells me to stay focused. Can be a bit annoying. This is my favorite application called Smart Action, and that's an application that works as automation tools do on your phone. So automation app like EFTT or something else. There's a lot of different alternatives out there, but this tool is to automate and help you with certain behaviors. For instance, you can trigger certain things depending on input, like actions, outside temperature, time of day, day in week, when you put it into drive, for instance. If you want to know more about that, you can check my other video I did about the ET7, and then I explain and show you a showcase of what you can do with the Smart Actions application. Otherwise, when it comes to the operating system, it works okay. It's not the best system I have tried. it's still some things to address and fix, and it's a evolving system. The navigation seems to work fine, if you ask me. I have nothing directly to complain about. They could add some more functions regarding charging, etc. But when it comes to the menus, it is also getting better than the first time I tested it. More functions are available now, and the functions are more correctly and more conveniently grouped into the sub-menus. Makes it a bit easier. As a standard, you also get a really premium high-end sound system with DTS support, Dolby Atmos support. So 23 speakers, 1000 watt of output power, really makes the cabin, the sound really good. It's a great experience. Comes with Tidal built in as an application. I have actually tried a couple of different DTS supported songs, and it sounds amazing. At one occasion I really thought that was my son singing in the back seat, but it was from the Tidal application. The DTS sound gives you a really dynamic sound, and it's really powerful, heavy bass, but yet crispy mids and highs at the same time. So a great sounding sound system, one of the better I've tried. So let's talk about the pricing briefly. The starting price of this car is 75,000 euros or 840,000 Swedish crowns. That's without the battery pack. On top of that, you can add the battery pack, buy the battery pack, or lease the battery pack. If you lease the battery pack, it comes with a monthly fee depending on the size of the battery pack you choose, 75 or 100. You can also buy the battery pack. So this car with this rims, 21-inch wheels, and the 100 kilowatt hours of battery pack cost 1,070,000 SEK or 95,000 euros, and that's the fully spec version. So when it comes to equipment, all Nios comes fully equipped. The only thing you can choose is the exterior color and the interior color and the size of the wheels and battery pack size. Everything else is included. The self-driving capabilities, all the cameras, the comfort pack with the massage seats, etc. Everything is included. Let's have a look at the different drive modes. So there is a hardware button conveniently placed on top of the center console for switching between the different drive modes. There is Comfort, Eco, Sport and Sport Plus, and on top of that a custom drive mode. And the things that differentiate the different drive modes is factors like acceleration. You can actually set the acceleration between 3.9 seconds up to 12.9 seconds 0 to 100 time. You have 3 different regenerative braking modes: very low, low and standard. You can also adjust the ride height in 2 different levels, low and standard. The next possible setting is the suspension, where you have 3 different modes: soft, standard and stiff. You can also adjust the stiffness of the steering wheel, soft, standard and stiff. And you have climate setting, 2 modes, eco and standard. So that's all the factors you can play with when it comes to the drive modes. So with the custom mode, you can actually set it to whatever you want. I tend to prefer to have it on 5.9 seconds in acceleration, and I like the suspension on standard, not too soft. The steering is set to steady because I think it's too soft on the other settings. To try the different driving conditions and driving dynamics of the car, I'm using the custom drive mode and testing the biggest differences between the different settings. So now everything is set to the most mushroomy and boaty feeling, floaty feeling. So steering is comfort, way too soft for me. Suspension is set to soft. Ride height is standard. Regen is very low, though it doesn't feel very low because it doesn't coast. So still a good amount of regen. Acceleration 12.9 seconds. So this is a totally different car on these settings than if you set it back to the more stiffer settings. The body roll is a lot. I mean, in the corners it's really leaning, it's very soft. Nothing I would recommend, but if you like this mushroomy feeling, this may be something for you, but nothing for me. Let's jump over and test some sportier settings. So I set acceleration to 3.9 seconds, regen to standard, that's the highest mode, low ride height, suspension to stiff, steering mode to steady, climate control to standard. Now it's a lot quicker on the accelerator, and yeah, it's a good feeling. It's a really nippy car on the sported quickest mode, and you really feel the power. Whoa. It's hard not to drive too fast in this car. Even if it's big, it's stays good to the ground. Feels really nice. And the suspension on the stiffest mode is still not over stiff. I mean, it's a dual chamber air suspension, so it won't get that harsh or stiff no matter which mode you're using. But the body roll is not as much as in the soft mode, but still a lot of body roll. I mean, it's an SUV, you won't get rid of the body roll in this kind of a car. So I really recommend this mode over the mushroom mode, as I call it. Feels like you can trust it more, feels like you are a bit more in control. The steering feels a bit more precise. The regen gives you a bit more of a braking, gets a bit more dynamic on these settings, a bit more fun to drive. Even though the steering still feels a bit numb, you don't get that feeling, you don't get to feel the road actually. It's a bit artificial. Let's push it a little bit here. Whoa! Yeah, a lot of torque. And it spins a bit on the front wheels. I mean, it's not engaging to drive that way. It's a too heavy, too big car, but it's still a bit fun. I must admit that. And there is plenty of power, plenty of torque, and it handles pretty well in the corners. Despite its height and heavy weight, you still feel in control. And I must say that the suspension set to stiff really adds some feeling of the road. You get to feel the road a bit better when riding on the stiff setting. Let's look at the back seat. A lot of legroom. I mean, this is a big car, but I have really utilized the interior space in a great way. You see here, I'm not touching my knees. The front seat is adjusted after my liking, and I'm actually 193 centimeters tall. So now I'm actually sitting behind myself. Two tall guys, 6'3", and still plenty of room, both for my knees and for my feet, because I can squeeze them underneath the front seat, but still have a lot of space. Good headroom, not touching the headliner at all. A nice central compartment with armrest here with a USB-C port, storage for your phone, two adaptive cup holders, a central screen with a USB-C port underneath. On the screen you can control the media like volume, skip songs, etc. Adjust the digital air vents, adjusted cabin temperature here at the back, activate, deactivate the seat heating. Also adjust and activate the relaxation function, the light massage function in the back seat. So all in all, a really great experience. You have the glass roof. On top of all this, you also have a powered back seat, which means that you can recline the backrest for a more comfortable position, and also electronically adjustable lumbar support in Y and X axis. So that's really nice. So as a summary, a great backseat to travel long trips in. You will not be bored in this backseat, and you will be able to travel long trips. So let's check the rear end and the boot of the NIO EL7. A light bar going through the whole back of the car. Really nice looking, LED lights all the way with some nice animations when unlocking and locking the car. Powered liftgate. 658 liters of cargo capacity. It has no frunk. This area is included in that 658 liters, and also the smaller area underneath here. This part hides a subwoofer, You can attach this that way to work with the cables, etc. Some hooks securing your cargo, 12-volt outlet, good interior lighting both here and at the top of the lid. Grocery bag hooks, some loading nets here, so a decent amount of storage. On top of that, foldable seats into two sections, 40 and 60, and it comes with a tow hitch and a tow capacity of 2 tons. So what do I think about the NIO EL7? I think it's a really competitive and compelling package, both when it comes to price, comfort and performance. I mean, the price, if you lease the battery, is really low, and you can lease the battery and don't worry about the lifespan of your battery pack, and you at the same time get access to all the swap stations and Nios own chargers. Still a very limited amount around in Europe, but it's a growing network, and hopefully they will keep building it out during the next coming years. They have great plans for it. And the biggest point for me is actually the looks. For me, this is kind of a evolved German design, really sophisticated, nice lines and sporty look, especially the front. I love the front of these cars. And all that together with the comfort you get. I mean, soft closing doors all around, the massage seats, the good sound system, the dual chamber air suspension, the decent boot capacity, tow hitch, the enormous glass roof, and all the hardware for the self-driving capabilities. Sounds like a compelling package for me. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Can this be the best car in the segment? Which one would you choose between the EQE SUV, the BMW iX, the Xpeng G9 or the NIO EL7? Let me know in the comments below. Let us have a discussion about that. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to support my work, to help me to be able to create more content like this for you guys. So as I always say, stay electric. Thank you for watching. Speak to you soon.